Hey folks, this is Ted Cantu here with HotMetroFinds.com. I'm here today with Dean from the 420 Group, and we're talking about different types of treatment that you can have for depression. And you know, with all the headlines coming out about the job situation and the economic situation that is happening in this country, and Southeast Michigan in particular, you may have some different types of emotions that are running wild in the areas of anxiety and depression, maybe panic attacks, and that sort of thing. And so Dean is here to talk a little bit about depression and what he can offer with the 420 Group. Dean, welcome.
Thank you, Ted. We really appreciate the opportunity to come and share our message with you. The 420 Group is a compassionate group that issues certification and renewals of the certification for the Michigan Medical Marijuana Program. And as Ted had mentioned, one thing that is kind of, one thing that I think society doesn't really understand is that when you deal with more of a holistic approach such as this, there are a number of things that can be addressed, and one of them being depression. There are a number of strains, and for those of you who are not familiar with the term strains, that is just a particular biological composition of a particular type of medicinal marijuana. And there are different strains, literally up to hundreds, that can help with depression, but also help in the areas of not only depression, but also like with stimulation, anxiety reduction, other things that will be sometimes a tangent or correlating, malady or issue for our patients who come through. And with our extensive database and knowledge relating to depression, mood elevation, stimulation, and anxiety reduction, and so on, we are able to work with the patient not only initially but ongoing to help them with their needs with an alternative approach to traditional pharmacological solutions.
That's great. Now we're talking about a holistic approach without the use of pharmaceuticals. And if you're watching the news lately, there are a lot of recalls for pharmaceuticals that are out there that have triggered off a plethora of unwanted side effects. And the best part about this is that you don't have to worry about those types of things with this type of treatment. It's all holistic and it's all natural. And best of all, Dean has associated himself with a great group of doctors who are very knowledgeable and who can answer all your questions. They do have a website that's out there currently. We do have a link for it here in this clip, and as well as a phone number. And but keep in mind too that as you are being treated for depression, there are other things to be mindful about. And let's talk a little bit about anxiety and panic attacks that people may have.
Sure. Good question, Ted. I mean, it's one of those things that you will find that is inherent almost within the medicinal marijuana market, is that the relaxation or the anxiety reduction is a very common thing that can happen with the appropriate strains. So with our guidance and knowledge from our database of strains, we can direct you so that you are comfortable ultimately with our recommendation. Generally, we are able to get folks adequate and sufficient relief within usually 1 or 2 attempts of proper strain selection. And once we do that, then you're pretty much on your own. And as Ted had mentioned, you're not going to be dealing with the side effects that are out there with some of the different psychosomatic drugs that are on the market for, depression and some of the other, anxiety and some of the other related, maladies.
Okay, now this is a very sensitive issue, and I want to talk just a little bit. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'll talk a little bit about some confidentiality and how discreet is it for a new patient to come in, and what's that process typically like?
Good, very good question, Ted. The process certification is pretty straightforward, but the thing that one has to keep in mind is that we are no different than any medical facility. We have doctors who are HIPAA compliant. Our operation operates only under the 100% compliance of Michigan law, meaning both in accordance with the MMMP Act and also in accordance with HIPAA regulations, so that your confidentiality is maintained and your records and everything is completely safe, and you do not need to share with anybody this information in public because it's your personal information. So our doctors will re-emphasize that point, and they always do during the appointments. But the main thing is to remember that that your confidentiality is primary, and that and then your adequate and sufficient treatment is, of course, our biggest concern.
Well, that is really, really great information, Dean. Thank you for sharing that with us. Folks, if you have any more questions for Dean, we do have a website here, and we also have a phone number. And I want to thank you for coming in today and talking to us, Dean. That was great.
Thank you very much, Ted. Appreciate it.
And folks, keep watching online for more in this series.